Good morning, everybody. Let me see it. Katie, a message. True Crime Truth Finders is supposed to join me this morning. I'm going to keep my camera on. My stinking dog, something's running across my roof of my house. I don't know what it is, a squirrel making them bark. Hey, there we are. I'm going to cut it back off while I finish smoking, though. Okay, now, let me find my chat. I don't even know if anyone's in here yet. Okay, Katie will be here in just a minute. Let me find my chat first. There's 4 people in here. Okay. Oh no, no wonder my Bluetooth wasn't connected. Hold on, guys. Hey, Tanya. There's Kay. Okay, so I got my earbuds connected. I'm usually not this unorganized. Yeah, okay, hold on. Give me just a minute. Let me get a daggone ashtray, and then I'm going to send you a link. Can you send me your email address again? I can't remember in the messenger, please. Okay, guys, come on, sit down. Talking to the dogs, guys. Oh my gosh. I don't know what was on top of the house, but it sounded like it was bigger than a squirrel. Got them roused up. Let me see if I have it. You didn't get a notification? Oh, okay. Well, did you send me your email? Okay, I got it. Jesus Christ, I can't freaking type. I typed it in wrong. Okay. I'm sending it now, girl. Sorry. I was trying to look at your email address on my phone and the screen kept going darker. You gonna be on camera? Let me get back to the chat. Screen kept going darker.
Hey there.
Hey, you're there. You're there.
All right.
Okay, cool. Hold on, let me get organized. I'm gonna turn my camera on. I want to put my cigarette out. Here I am.
Hello. Yeah, you don't want to see me right now. I fell down the stairs yesterday and hurt my back. I think I knocked my spinal cord stimulator all out of whack, and I need to get myself together.
Are you serious? You failed? Did you say you failed?
Yeah, it's like I do that every once in a while, but
Yeah. I've been in severe pain for 2 days with my tendonitis.
I totally empathize with you. Different, but totally. Pain sucks. Chronic pain freaking sucks.
Yeah, it does. I can't see the chat like this.
I
My
can't
phone's
either.
not working.
I'm
Okay.
trying to switch over the laundry real quick, and then I'll be able to go upstairs and see the chat on my computer.
Okay. Maybe we need to share this live stream. I shared it to the community page, though.
So did I. Let me see. I can put it on my. I
It
put it on my.
seems like since the weather's got prettier, that people are not in the chat like they were back in the winter time. I've noticed that.
Oh,
'Cause,
sure. That makes
because they're outside enjoying themselves.
absolutely.
I'll share it to Facebook.
I'm gonna do my Twitter and my Facebook page.
Oh yeah, I've got Twitter too. I forgot about that. So did you watch that video I did this morning? I came across an article that was talking about AJ friend, Maleah Davis, and Shaylee Madden, the little baby sister over the hill. I think that's how you pronounce her name. Shaylee, is that right?
I am not sure. I have kind of followed up on that, but not 100%. Moving has made me fall behind on my crime, and it's making me sad. But I saw something, but I didn't read that. No, I saw your video. I took my son to my mother-in-law's and stopped at the grocery and came home. I had to get my medicine and came home, and that's about it. So I'm like totally behind this morning. What was it talking about?
Well, it was just talking about how the caretakers go from caretakers to victim to suspect.
Uh,
All of them
yeah,
alleged that their kids have been kidnapped. And
that's
every
ridiculous.
one of them were involved, and they were all, caretakers. I wouldn't call them parents. I don't know what you call them.
Right. No, I totally agree. It's like I'm trying to think. I sent it to you back a little bit ago. It was the case that happened locally when I was graduating high school. It was back in 2006, and what was the name? It was the same thing though, but it was like foster parents, and they basically they went out of town for like a family reunion, and they left this kid that they were fostering. They like wrapped him up in something, or I can't remember the exact details. I need to look back into it because now that this is becoming more prevalent, I want to go back and like kind of compare it. But it happened where they like put him in a closet, and they didn't want to take this kid with them for some reason, and they ended up killing the kid while they were gone, is my understanding. And when they got back, he was dead. They kept him in the closet. They went to a park and they said, "Hey, he's missing." And he ran off. And that's not what happened. They had the whole freaking county looking for this kid for like days, and come to find out he was already dead. They burned him somewhere, and they found just like remnants of him. And he was a little kid. Like, what? He was autistic. What did he do to you? Like, if you don't want, he was a foster kid as well. If you don't want that, come to find
I
out,
don't understand how
people are messed
any
up.
do that to a kid. I just don't understand how you could beat on a kid, hit a kid, burn their bodies, bury your own kid or any kid. I don't know how people do that. Just like this Christopher McNabb and Courtney Bell. How do you hit a 15-day-old baby? In my opinion on that, I think Courtney Bell murdered her baby, and I think she set him up. Those jailhouse calls I listen to makes me think that. I could be wrong. That's just a theory,
It's awful.
Hmm. Yeah, supposedly the boyfriend did it, the baby's dad, Chris, and I guess they got her because she was neglectful, smoking meth, house nasty, didn't take care of kids.
That's ridiculous. I just looked up the name of who I was talking about. It was the Marcus Faisal case. If anyone, I'll type it in here. It's back to the same thing. It's these caretakers who they don't have to do, like, there are a lot of safe haven laws, I think is what it's called or whatever, where you can like drop, I don't know about that state, but there are a lot of different states where if a baby is under like so many weeks or months old, the person who's responsible for the baby, the mother and father or whatever, they can take them to a fireplace, a hospital, or a firehouse, like all these different places where you can just take the baby and no questions asked. I don't know if that's the state, but there are so many other options. I don't understand why people do this crap. It doesn't make any sense. It frustrates me if you can't tell. People were commenting on my videos yesterday, like, I can tell you're frustrated. I can tell this irritates you. I'm like, yeah, because I was one of these kids. We're supposed to protect these kids. We're not, and especially if we were victims ourselves. We're not victims, it's survivors. Even then, I don't even like to call it that, but we have a responsibility and not an excuse to allow it to happen to the next generation. It's bullcrap.
Yeah, I mean, what was you saying about Brittany saying that she was abused as a child? Can you tell me about that?
There's been this Quanell X who has come out and talked about Brittany or for Brittany. I've seen two different the one was a press conference that they did before they went and talked to police on Friday. The other one that I watched was when this guy was I watched it yesterday. It came out this weekend, I think, and it was a lot shorter version. He was sitting down and he was talking to one of the reporters, and one of the reporters was like sitting there asking him questions back and forth. And basically he was elaborating on some of the things that were brought up on Friday. And he says that not word for word, but he basically says that Brittany was abused as a kid, and he almost makes that out to be an excuse for why she doesn't know how to act and make sure her kid wasn't a victim as well. Like, she doesn't know any better is kind of how it was being portrayed in my understanding. Like, so they beat around the bush in a lot of different things that they're talking about. They don't want to come out and be incriminating, but they want to give a little bit of detail. And I think they were trying to make it out to be, oh, pity on her. That's, again, my interpretation of it. But to me, that's even more of a reason to protect your kid. You know what it's like to be abused. Why wouldn't you go above and beyond to protect your child?
Exactly. It's made me very protective of my son and every kid. And when I hear about these cases, it really pisses me off. It really irritates me. I've been in a bad mood for a couple of weeks now because of AJ and Maleah. I just don't get it.
Yeah.
How can you leave your child with a man that you thought was physically and sexually abusing her? How could you do that? Especially when you've been through abuse yourself. She knows better. And the way she looked walking out of the courthouse yesterday, because those protesters were kind of chanting justice for Maleah.
Yeah, I saw that.
The look on her face, to me, she just looked pissed off because people are blaming her for this, and the reason they're blaming her for it is because of her own words, her own statements.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to say. She incriminated herself, and she did that she should have never had him come out there and say that. By her trying to make herself look like a victim, all she did was say that she knew this was going on, and that right there is neglect in some way, shape, or form. Like, you can't, honestly, it was a good thing she came out there and said that stuff for like court purposes and stuff. Most of that stuff, if she does get charged with something, can be held against her. You need to just shut up. Like, if you have an attorney, they would tell you that. But as we know, he's not an attorney, and I don't know if he has any attorneys working for him, but it was my understanding. I heard on the news yesterday that there were people that were going to be like talking about this whole issue with Juan LX acting as an attorney or representing himself that way and him not being an attorney. And I don't know if maybe he's giving her bad advice, but it's a good thing for the public, and it's a good thing for law enforcement and for criminal reasons that she did that. But it's really bad for her.
He's gave her some really bad advice. She
Yeah.
admitted she thought that Darian was abusing Maleah. She saw bruises on her legs. She thought that he may have been sexually abusing her. And the interview that I watched when he gave that statement, he said that she had text messages with Darian that she needed to give to police. And he also said something to the effect of she's going to tell authorities all that she knows or something.
The problem with that is that she should have done that last Saturday.
Exactly. She came out and made a Facebook statement taking up for the son of a, you know?
Yeah, but she knew. Quanell X said that they hadn't talked from Monday on, and I'm pretty sure she made that statement on Monday on Facebook or sometime around there. But he said that they hadn't talked and that Darian wouldn't respond back to Brittany. So for her to go out there and defend him, but now she has text messages that proves otherwise. And she even had she had the guts to go out and say, I mean, you saw it. She said they were interrogated for 8 hours and nothing good came of it. Well, yeah, because you didn't say anything. Like, you're the one that could have broken this case wide open from the very beginning, and you never did.
Yeah.
That's your daughter. That's your freaking daughter. Like, you know what I mean? With a brain injury, she's 4. She can't protect herself.
And more than likely, the brain injury came from abuse.
Yeah.
I really believe it did. The doctor saw a previous injury. I read that several times.
There's actually an ongoing investigation still into that brain injury. So, and she knew this. They both knew this. And that has come out and been said. So that investigation was not concluded. And they suspect that was, I'm pretty sure that was in the court documents that were filed. I need to check and see if anything additional has been filed. I haven't checked today. But those were, if I'll go back and look when I'm done putting this up. I'm pretty sure it's stated in there that there was an ongoing investigation from that exact injury, and that investigation hadn't been concluded, and that both Darian and Brittany were aware of this ongoing investigation. That's evidence as well that she knew that there was neglect going on, and she still chose to leave her child with him.
And I would say as soon as he got along with that child after she flew out of town, that he abused her in some way. And I'm thinking it was probably sexual abuse as well as physical abuse. And where they were already being investigated, he killed her.
Yeah.
He went too far. He went too far with his abuse, and he may have killed her while he was abusing her, or he could have realized that he was going to have to finish her off. So,
someone came up with a good theory, like on a comment that was on Facebook that said, so do you think that because of the alleged abuse prior, do you think that maybe, or this was their theory, that maybe he had abused her the whole time, like this was his one opportunity to be alone with Maleah, and he abused her the whole time she was gone, and then realized that the mother was coming back home and he had to then finish her off, because he didn't actually take her the basket. Like, the last time we see her is on the 30th, but the last time we see him, or the first time we see him taking anything that could be possible evidence that incriminates him out of the apartment isn't until Friday the 3rd. So there's that time in between where she wasn't being taken out of the apartment, but neither was anything else. So I don't know why you would have a decomposing body in your apartment for that long. And it says in the court documents that they think that she was killed on or around. They think this happened with the tampering of evidence of the human corpse, and they allude to the fact that there should be additional charges coming, and that they allude to the fact that it'll be a homicide investigation. They just have to find that evidence, and that was why they wanted to have such a high bond. But then they dropped the bond to $45,000 yesterday, so it went from $1 million to $45,000 in less than 48 hours. So if somebody is out there supporting him, usually they work on a 10% cash bond you can get out. If somebody has $4,500 or whatever it was, $4,800, they can get him out.
why did they lower his bond?
Well, I've seen an article that
they knocked out the body. Do they,
No, I don't think so. They have
can
to
they
have
not
the
charge him yet?
No, they have not charged him with anything other than tampering with
I mean,
evidence.
but why can't they charge him right now?
I don't think they have enough. So if they charge him too soon, additional evidence is hard to be presented. So they need to have all they can now before they screw it up later. Like, in my opinion, they're probably trying to make sure that they cross all their T's and dot all their I's so that when push comes to shove, and if he does not plead guilty, his arraignment isn't until July now. So if he does not plead guilty, they want to make sure that they have enough evidence for him to at least be put in jail for a very long time. So they need to find that body, and they need to figure out exactly where he put her. And they also, I was reading an article that was done. I think it was KHOU 11. I'm pretty sure they did an article, and they were asking a bunch of different people, their legal advisor, in addition to other people, about why that bond would have been lowered. And some people were saying this is ridiculous, it should have never been lowered. And others were saying, well, based on the charges that he is currently charged with, the judge had to legally do what he did, because you can't have someone being held on $1 million bond, because technically $1 million bond is, again, if it's 10% to bond out, it's $100,000. Most people can't do that unless they put up a house or something. So it's technically trying to get someone to be held without bond. And it's my understanding in that state, that is not a charge. Even though it's a second-degree felony, that's not a charge that you can be held without bond or with such a high bond on. So legally, it's my understanding they had to. So I don't know. That's what I was reading yesterday based on these legal advisors. So
I'm wondering when they took him in, if they tried to interrogate him again. Probably lawyered up, though.
he does have a lawyer now. He had a public defender prior, but I mean, even if you have a public defender, you can still say, I plead the fifth and I want an attorney, and you'll get your public defender board. And they have to advise you, or they can advise you to not say anything. I do know that I think maybe one of the reasons why everything was delayed yesterday is because he actually did get an attorney. He has a defense attorney, but I was reading that he's more of a defense attorney in family law, child victim. So I don't know how that's going to work out. I don't understand. I need to do a little bit more research on that and see if that's really the case. Because if so, that kind of contradicts the whole thing. Or it makes me think that maybe he was trying to cover up for something else. I don't know. It just confuses me. I initially thought that maybe Brittany was more involved, but based on the last time we know Maleah was alive, based on pictures, it doesn't seem like she could have been. So I don't
think that she knew. Well, I don't think she was there, but she definitely shouldn't have left Maleah there. And from what that Cornell ex was saying, there must have been some kind of messages exchanged between Brittany and Darian, that were important to this case, And I'm just wondering what those messages were. And see, that right there, if she didn't know and he sent her messages threatening about doing something to Maleah, she should have contacted authorities so they could have got Maleah or a family. She's totally responsible too, in my opinion, for this, in a way.
Yeah, if you have some reason to believe, I mean, one, I would never go out of town and leave my child with somebody I don't think is able to take care of my child, especially
Absolutely not.
I mean, no offense, but her father was already deceased. He had been deceased. And it's my understanding that the funeral actually took place on the 27th, and she didn't go to that. She went to the memorial service, which was held on whatever day, the 30th or something like that. And so there's more to it than that. And so your daughter's life was at risk, and you had reason to believe that she was abused prior, yet you leave. Then you don't call. You don't have any family members check on her. You don't have anybody do anything. You don't call police, nothing.
Right.
It's ridiculous.
I was going to look in the chat. Hey, good morning, Judith, Carly, Jenny, Lisa, Shahid, Christina. I didn't say Valerie, Shirley. Shine on, Miss Diva. Well, hey, well, I can't say that. Hey, I'm just going to call her Miss Diva. Did I miss anybody? Mel? Jenny? Everybody?
Hey,
So,
everybody.
these earbuds will not stay on my ears. It's like these hook versions, and they will not stay on. It's because of my glasses and my earbuds. Okay, let's see what they're saying in the chat about this.
Yeah,
He
I
must
can
have
share
had
you out on Twitter.
for this little girl. Diva says. I think he must have burned her body. That's why he had that gas. If he didn't, he thought about it. But 2 gallons of gas doesn't look like that would be enough to. I don't know. She was a little girl. But
maybe he was thinking about setting the car on fire.
Called The Little Lost Angel. It's Shonda Shara story. They were saying in that book that it was a lot harder to burn the body than what people thought. You have to get it really hot. So I don't think 2 gallons would have done it. I mean, it could have. She's little. I don't know. I'm not an expert, but
I almost wonder if maybe he was trying to light the car on fire because you can light cars on fire rather easily with all the other chemicals that are in there. So I almost wonder if that was his goal, but then realized that that would have drawn more attention to him or something, because I think the body was in the car on Friday when he left and he was supposedly on the way to go pick up Brittany from the airport, and then he was missing for those 24 hours or whatever. I think that's the time that he was looking for her. So most cars, depending on how old they are, I think they said that was a 2011. I could be wrong, but they usually have some sort of GPS tracker on there. If it's leased, it could. That's probably too old to be leased. Or if they have like OnStar or something. So that could be an option if that's activated. I don't know if he would have rented a car or anything to like transport it, if he would have left the car in the parking lot at Walmart and then taken another car or something. It's possible that they could find evidence there. They've got to have him somewhere on those cameras. There's a lot of cameras around that Walmart parking lot and around the route that he took. So they have a lot more than what they're saying. They just have to hold that for like a probable cause hearing or, actual court and stuff. We'll eventually get to hear that, but.
So the last day that she was seen was on surveillance. I don't have my notebook here.
The 30th is the last day she was seen. And she was following Darian into the apartment.
Okay, let me get my calendar here. So she was last seen on the 30th, which was Tuesday. Okay, so that doesn't mean that he killed her right away just because she wasn't seen outside. He could have just not allowed her outside.
Sure. He said she was sick.
Do you think? I mean, I just don't see him leaving a dead body in there for a couple days.
Yeah, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, depending on what time. That would be almost.
He probably killed her Friday or maybe
Friday.
Thursday night, because her mom was coming back in town. She was going to know she had been abused. So he came up with this story and killed Maleah.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. To me, I am so damn angry at Brittany Bowen. I have not signed that petition yet.
I didn't know there was one.
Her charge, but I'm probably going to if she don't get charged. I want to hear all the evidence first. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I didn't know there was one. I need to check that out.
Yeah, one of my videos yesterday, in the description, I've got the link to it. Yeah, there is called Justice for Maleah, and they're using the hashtag Justice for Maleah. The people that started the Change.org petition are some of the same people that were protesting and swarmed her yesterday when she came out of the courthouse or the courtroom.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, they want her charged because she left Maleah in Darian's care, and she has publicly taken up for him. Then publicly came out and said, she thought he was abusing her, but yet still left her. So that's that's why.
It's just a mess. I don't understand why this all could have been prevented. It didn't have to happen this way.
Let's see. See if there's anything else on the new stuff that's happened.
I'm gonna look on the courts too to see. I gotta put in my headphones. I'm looking at me on the computer now, and I see it keeps cutting in and having me go back and forth. So I'm gonna try and take myself off. So I'm gonna put my headphones in and see if that helps.
Oh, yeah, it's doing fine. It looks fine to me. Right here, justice for Maleah. Protesters accuse missing girl's mom of not doing enough to protect her. Who is this by? ABC 13. Brittany Bowens was in the courtroom waiting for her ex-fiance Darren Vance to make another appearance before a judge. However, that hearing was reset. He's been charged with tampering with evidence, namely a corpse in Maleah's disappearance. It says Bowen's family and relatives of Maleah's biological dad, Craig Davis, were also in the courtroom. She didn't deserve this, said Davis' cousin. So I guess Craig Davis's cousin, Tamisha Mendoza, was asking Brittany Bowens for answers, and she said, and I get Craig Davis, like I said, that's Maleah's biological dad. It says, you had suspicions that he was molesting her. Why did you stay? Said Mendoza. Why didn't you remove yourself from the situation? Furthermore, why didn't you remove her, even if you didn't want to leave the situation? You could have sent her to her dad. You could have sent her to grandparents. You could have sent her anywhere except for leaving her. And it said all eyes were on Bowens as protesters shouted accusations at her in what they say was a failure to protect Maleah. Justice for Maleah, justice for Maleah, the group chanted. People always also held signs with the same message.
That's crazy.
He was quiet.
I put myself on mute
because background noise. I was like, is she still there?
I am. I was trying to make sure that I didn't keep, when I saw myself on YouTube, it kept coming up every time I would move or do something, and it would take away from you and you have video up and it would just show my picture. I was trying to make it go away.
Oh, no, that's all right. It does that sometimes. Oh, it says right here, it says, as Brittany stepped into the elevator, someone yelled, murderer. Now
Oh, goodness. I'm looking to see if I can pull up the documents here on this computer and see if anything's changed.
Listen to what Cornell X said yesterday. He says, we have a great idea of what he did with Maleah's body after he killed her in their apartment, he said.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. That's what I wanted to bring up. Oh, my gosh.
Well, yeah. Why? I mean, or have they told authorities? I don't know about this Cornell X guy.
That's his assumption based on, so that's his assumption. So Cornell X thinks that she was dismembered by Darian based on the evidence that states, well, this is the evidence that he says backs it up. The fact that there was some sort of body tissue or something that belonged to Maleah or matched back to her toothbrush, in addition to blood that was in the pipes. But that doesn't mean that she was dismembered. There's a lot of blood that comes from a body. It's like when you take a cup of juice or water or something and you spill it all over the ground. it's a lot more on the ground than what it looks like in the cup. And people don't realize that. So he was taking, based on his assumption, because he's some like expert DNA forensic analysis or something like that. He was taking his opinion and saying she was dismembered. I think that he keeps talking, he's going to get himself and his clients in a lot of trouble. He's putting that out there. Nobody put that out there. There's the court documents that were released. None of that was in there. I read it word for word. It's not there. That's his assumption.
Yeah, I gotta get some coffee, guys. I'm gonna turn the camera off a second. I hope my dogs don't get started.
I'm stealing Cece's channel. Hi, y'all.
Yeah, talk to y'all.
How's it going? It's the K takeover. Here, come on, Magic. Go on. How's everybody doing on this fine Tuesday? Uh-oh, my chat disappeared. I can't see y'all. Hey there. Hey, Shine On. Hey, Mel. Mel calls me Brenda.
Okay, yes, I'm back. Hey, it's nice.
Yeah, that was the kitty magic.
Girl, it's nice having a co-host. I can walk away. You can chat.
Right?
Have you looked up Darian's background, his criminal history?
Yes, and I didn't see anything on the Texas, like you can pay to run a record on their, like, it's like a Texas statewide thing, and it runs records. And I've done it before on other people, and you have to pay, like, I think it's like $3 and change or something stupid. Nothing came back. I also ran them on a different database that I have. It's a public one that you have to pay for, but there was nothing that came back. And then I also read an article that was basically like, so you go from nothing, no criminal record, no nothing, to this. And it was kind of like, what? But I had heard that he had been accused of molesting someone prior. So I don't know if that was an accusation that was never founded, or this was just like made up, or if Brittany had caused this accusation or something. So because of, we heard what she said on Friday. So there could be a number of different reasons that came out, but there's nothing for either of them. I tried her too.
Hey, Carla.
Hey, Christina64, how are you?
Hazel, Christina, Tanya, Nicole says, the information he was sharing on the interview I saw didn't seem like it was relevant to the situation. He is digging her a hole. I'm telling you, he's digging her grave for her.
Oh, it's not going to be pretty.
No, she's going down. She's going down.
I'm going to see. I have to look at this on my phone.
Let me go to one of my videos, and I'll get the link to the change.org.
I have to look up his records on my phone. My password stuff isn't saved on my computer. It annoys me.
Oh my goodness. I'm learning how to copy links and stuff.
It's so much harder on your phone than it is on like a computer.
I know, and I've got to get a laptop. My Chromebook is awesome, but I don't know.
I have a desktop that I use I have a laptop that I use for some things, but I have a desktop that I use for, like, I'm on my desktop right now. It helps me. It's more convenient for a lot of things. I need my mouse for like copying and pasting. And Shine On mentioned something that I wanted to bring up real quick. She said that there's text between Brittany and a neighbor, and I think that says he snuck her back into the house. And I know we've talked about this a couple times. So my interpretation of that, people were saying that they know that Brittany was back in the house because of those text messages. So one, we don't know if those are accurate, or you can, even if it's the phone number, you can make it look one way. It's really easy to copy and paste those and to create fake messages. But even if they were accurate messages. I honestly think that she was talking about prior, and I think that that was a conversation taken out of context, or I think it's an interpretation of, this is my understanding and how I see it, because of how Quanell X said that this had happened prior, and he made me believe that I heard his press conference prior to seeing these messages. So those messages kind of just provided more context, in my opinion, to what he was saying in the press conference. So I think people that haven't seen all of the pieces take it as she was there and she knew that he snuck her back in and that she had something to do with this, but she was trying to cover for herself, or he was trying to cover for her because she was there. But I don't think that's the case. I think this was from prior.
Yeah, I took it as it was a prior incident after I read it a couple times and then
Yeah.
watched this interview.
I could be wrong, but that's how I took it anyway, if that counts for anything. Oh,
Girl.
cat, come on. My cat's like trying to surf across my desk.
It
Come
makes
on.
sense if you listen to Cornell X's statements and then you read
Yes,
messages. It makes total sense.
absolutely. That was my thing too, because I had listened to that before as well. And then I heard his short little thing where he was sitting down the other day and he kind of explains it. And then Quanell X goes above and beyond and takes it a step further and explains what he meant in that press conference on his Facebook page that I had sent you. So then there's that. And then people were like really upset. I'm in a couple groups online and like on Facebook and stuff. And people were quite upset. They're like, did he just say GD when he was in the elevator? He was like really upset about the whole situation going down and them accusing her. And people were like, oh, okay. They're, he's really showing his true colors there. So he is one of those people where you just sit and watch them implode.
Yeah. Hey, Hazel Basil. The reason that they were there are because of Brittany's statements and his statements. And Chinon has a good point here. She says the text says she wishes they had gone back for food. Like that, what does that mean?
Like, I don't know if maybe she was saying her lunch or something. Like, I know there's a lot of times where my husband has forgotten things, or I'm like, oh, hey, do you need me to bring that for you? Or he had thought about going back and doing something, or you retrace your steps when you know that something has happened. I think she was trying to make herself look better in the eyes of her peers and anyone that's talking to her. She's trying to justify some of her actions, is my opinion. Like, she doesn't think that these messages are going to get out, or maybe she does. And maybe that's also why she's doing it, because she's hoping that this could have been a setup. I mean, people do it all the time. This could have been a setup where she knew that this person was going to release it. And that was the whole purpose of that, was to try and make her look better as well. And it doesn't, it just makes her look like total crap.
Oh yeah, she made herself look like total crap by her Facebook post that she made right after Maleah was reported missing, where she's taken up for Darian, saying that he was a good stepfather. He stepped up and posted pictures of Darian and Maleah. And I don't know if it's the way she writes words, if she's illiterate. I don't know what's wrong with her, but she wrote in that post when she was talking about how she wanted the Amber Alert issued and the cops wouldn't do it. And she wrote, when we were concerned. And that stood out to me. You should still be concerned. Maleah's gone.
Sure, I get that. A lot of times when you talk in past tense, it's because you know something or you've done something.
Mm-hmm.
But it also, like, I know people say that I have an accent.
I think she knew that he did something to Maleah. She might not have knew when he done it, but after she was reported missing, I guess she knew. Maybe.
Yeah. Like, I know though also, like, when my brother, we're from, they say it Midwest, but we're from outside of Cincinnati, Ohio, and people say that I have an accent. I don't think that I do, but it is what it is. And my brother moved to North Carolina back, I don't know, 9 years ago maybe, and he's been there ever since. And there's a lot of things that I can tell in a difference in his accent, like from the people that he's around, and things that, like, even you learn in school that this is a full sentence. Like he says, you right. It drives me insane, but he says, you right. And I'm like, do you mean you're right or you are right? And he's like, you right. And it makes me wonder if maybe like that was that. I always try to give people the benefit of the doubt when I can. And it makes me think, okay, maybe that was just simply her trying to type out super fast, or it's from the area that she's in. Maybe it's just how they talk. It's not necessarily a past tense thing to her. It was just I don't know, maybe like a matter of fact thing or a way that they speak. I don't know. It just makes me wonder and make me want to try to defend her if I can. But there are also a lot of different things where when you talk in past tense, like Chris Watts did it, and a lot of people do it. A lot of people are told, don't say anything because of stuff like that. And no matter what you do in your body language, people are going to analyze you, especially in the days of technology and social media. All you're doing is making everybody else your jury outside of what needs to be. And you're incriminating yourself. You need to just shut up. People need to understand that. People always say, if you get an attorney, you're guilty. No, honestly, if anything ever happened around me in my history and what I know, I would probably do the same thing because I just need a little bit of advice. And I need someone to tell me you need to shut up because I usually talk too much.
Yeah. I mean, these people that are guilty, they think they can get on camera and fool everybody and put on an act. To me, I think that Brittany is probably hurt that her child is gone.
Sure.
But she is to blame for her child being gone because she left her with an abusive person, someone she knew was abusive.
Right.
Someone she knew had not taken Maleah to daycare and snuck her back in the house. And that was in her text messages.
I think that's absolutely what they meant by that.
Yeah. So she knew that he done these things to Maleah, and she still flew out of state and left Maleah there. She could have taken her anywhere to friends, grandparents, her dad's, instead of leaving her there. Why is she with a man she thinks is abusing her daughter? They just got engaged, I reckon. I mean, she's not a victim. She's not a victim. And I can't wait to see all that comes out of how much she really knew. What kind of text messages her and Darian had between one another during this time.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what she knew. I mean, honestly, she could feel so bad that nothing that we do or say is going to affect that anyway. I mean, and it shouldn't. She shouldn't be worried about what anybody else has to say or think when her child's been, murdered or whatever. I know people, friends and family were like, don't say that. She's, we haven't confirmed that, but there's really nothing that leads us to believe that she's still around, unfortunately. And it just, I don't know.
Sorry, I had to step out a second, let my dog out.
Oh, you're good. I'm going to have to let mine in here in a second.
I've been in here getting her food out. If y'all been hearing me rattling stuff around. And I've got to take some more leaves. My leg is killing me. The tendonitis hurts worse than the injury that I have. I broke my tibia and it didn't heal properly.
That sounds like my back. My back hurts a lot, but it's my nerve damage and my nerve pain from the nerve damage from my back that really hurts the most.
Yeah. I have a big hump underneath my kneecap, and it's like fluid. So my tibia didn't heal back right because of the fluid. It's leaking in between that crack, preventing it to heal. Sometimes my bone moves when I walk. I need surgery, but I just don't have the insurance. So I take these Advil, liquid Advil, that's got naproxen in them. That's the only thing that really helps tendonitis.
It sucks. It's like it's like nerve pain. I have to take nerve medicine. Nothing else helps it, but I hurt my knee back in October and I need to do something. I likely need knee surgery as well. I was supposed to go back the other day, and I didn't go back.
Yeah.
I know what they're going to say. So when I'm ready for that, I'll go back. Still have a knee brace on, still walk super funny like I did before, but that's not going to change. That was because of my other stuff. So
I think, back to Brittany in a second, I think
yeah,
within the next couple weeks that she will be charged with something.
I think so too. I keep trying to check. One, I wanted to tell you, I have not seen, I looked on Darian's, I looked on his court records. Nothing has been added. He, to my knowledge, is still locked up, and the bond is $45,000. So that is the information that I found out. I just wanted to let you know. I was looking at that here in the last few minutes.
Does this guy work? What's his history? Is he?
I don't know. Let's see if I can find it. I don't know if he had a LinkedIn or
We need
anything.
to know these things. Is that Brittany's 1-year-old son with him?
With
Darian?
Is that the dad? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
That's my understanding. But when I read the court documents, hold on, let me see if I can pull those up. When I read the court documents,
someone else?
they gave him initials. They named the kid as initials, and it seems like he didn't have either of their last name, unless they were just like putting it in there as something totally random.
I think his name's Cortland, isn't it?
I don't know what the last name is, Gina. Or is that what you're saying the last name is, or is that his first name?
I didn't know if that was the last name or I thought his first name was Cortland.
Let's see. Let me see. I've got all that crap in here somewhere. Oh, wait. Hold on. I've got it pulled up still.
Now my other dog wants out.
That's how mine are. I'm telling you. They're killing me. Okay. Let's see.
Yeah,
Charging instrument. Here we go. This is I'm re-downloading the document here. Let me see what they gave him the initials wise. Let's see. Wait, that's not what I wanted. Crap.
Girl, I don't know how to use Zoom to do, like, you know how everybody else does the live stream. How do they do that?
I have to do it on my computer, and I have to add it into Streamlabs, or I have OBS, and you have to do it through that. I don't know how to use Google Hangouts, so there's that.
You go through your laptop and go to your YouTube studio and just go to other features and create live event. And that's how you do it. And it's got just like a little space there, and you a little dot, and you just click Hangouts.
Okay, so they're saying they named the 2-year-old child as KV, as in Victor. I don't know what the last name is, but they say that the 2-year-old child, they refer to him as KV, and it says your client has verified with the biological father of the eldest child that the eldest child was picked up by the biological father. The oldest kid that they have that wasn't with them has the same dad as Maleah, is my understanding. And then the 2-year-old is, I'm trying to see if it says it in this specific document. I think the 2-year-old has been confirmed as Darian's, at least that we know of. Let me see here.
BK for truth. It
says his 2-year-old child. Yeah, the 2-year-old is Vince's, is what it's saying.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wait. Okay, KV. Duh, Vince. I have lost my mind. Okay, yeah. That's Vince's. That tells you how my morning's going.
Kay explained earlier why they lowered the bond.
Let me see if I can find that article.
I can't remember what she said. I'll get her to explain it in a second.
Yeah, let me know when you want me to explain it. I will.
Well, whenever you want to. I'm gonna
see if I can find the article while I'm talking. They basically lowered it because here it is. It's KHOU is the place that did it's the news. It's KHOU 11. They're a news station down in Houston, and it says that it's an article called "You Ask, We Answer." Why was bond reduced for Maleah Davis's stepfather? They keep calling him stepfather. By the way, everyone's like reaming my butt about calling him a stepfather. The only reason I do that It's because that's what he was referred to in the beginning.
Yeah.
So I usually say like the ex-fiance of Brittany, also known as the stepfather. And like people go nuts, but that's how he's being referred to, just so everybody knows.
I'm going to let
Um,
you take over my channel for a second while I take a
yeah,
bathroom break.
no
Okay.
problem. I'm here.
I'm on mute.
Um, all right, cool. So my computer has, oh, here we go. It's frozen up. I got to go back down. So they basically did an article that says that they talked to KHOU's legal analyst, Gerald Treese, and they weighed in on some of the legal questions in the case. And one of those cases, or one of those questions was, why was Darian Vince's bond reduced from 1 million to 45,000? This guy says that Gerald Treese says bond amounts should be determined based on how likely someone is to show up for court. They should not be punitive or about how serious the crime is. They said Tree says that the $1 million bond amount was unusually high, and if he was the defense attorney, he would have asked for it to be lowered as well. I'm neither surprised nor shocked the bond would be lowered because the question is the likelihood this person will appear for trial. This person isn't going anywhere. He has law enforcement all over the country watching him. I don't know if I necessarily believe that, but it says, I'm neither surprised nor shocked the bond would be lowered because the question is the likelihood this person would appear for trial. This person isn't going anywhere, is what they keep reiterating. It says that attorney Thomas Burton III is representing Vince and said he intended to file a motion to lessen the bond amount, but was surprised when it was already done by the judge in Monday's hearing. Burton III said that he was yet to receive any evidence from the state against his client, which would include surveillance video from outside of the home where Maleah was last seen. It says another question is, will any family members be charged in Maleah's disappearance? This is not the original article that I read. The original article I read asked a few different people on their opinion, and somebody else said that they thought that it should not have been lowered. Another person also said that they thought that it should have been lowered because the crime. So there's a lot of different opinions based on what people's prior experience and knowledge would be as well. But when people also ask if any other members of the family will be charged, it says Tree says people who are party to a crime are equally responsible in Texas. That's also a lot of times people don't understand that when you go to, I've kind of kept my mouth shut on this, but there's a lot of different states where, say you accompany someone and say you're the getaway driver and you have 3 people in your car and they go rob a house. Well, when they go into that house and something goes, wrong and someone is shot and killed, well, that becomes either a murder or a homicide. It depends on, where you are as far as what it's labeled and to what degree. Most of the time, that whole car, even the getaway driver, is just as responsible as the shooter. So there's 4 people then that are charged and complicit a lot of times. And people don't understand that they could be charged. And sometimes because people aren't charged, or when they're charged, they don't usually all go to trial at the same time. So say all of those 4 people will go against different juries and they have different judges and they may all be charged with the same thing, but they may also have different sentences. And sometimes, that's saying like life's not fair. This takes it to the extreme because you could have that getaway driver actually be sentenced to a harsher sentence than the person who pulled the trigger. And a lot of people don't understand that. But that's sometimes how that works. It's very uncommon for it to work that way, for the getaway driver to be charged with the same crime and to be sentenced harsher than the other. But it's actually possible in a lot of states, and they reiterate that. So if someone's complicit to that crime and they find evidence, it's very possible, and that guy is saying that in Texas, that's also the case. So depending on who may be involved, may absolutely depend on who could be charged with this crime as well.
Hey, girl, I'm back.
Hey.
I was wondering about the person that dropped Darian off at the hospital in the Nissan Altima. I'm
Yeah,
wondering how much they knew about this, if they knew anything. He could have just told them some story. They may not have knew about Maleah, but I
for
wonder
sure.
if they'll come forward. I wonder if they'll be charged with anything. I guess I'll have to see if there's any evidence that links them to knowing about the crime. I think here in Virginia, just like if you're in the car or involved in like a robbery or whatever, even if you didn't pull the trigger, you're just as guilty.
Yeah, absolutely. That's how it is in Ohio too, is my understanding. And so what I've read, there were people that were saying that it's someone in Darian's family that was hiding him or protecting him. And someone mentioned that it might have been his brother. I also heard maybe a cousin or something. So I'm not sure, but it made me think that that might have been who dropped him off. And he might have also been kind of hiding out at that person's house. I don't think it would have taken him that whole time to dispose of Maleah unless he, drove really, really far. I've also seen a lot of speculation and rumors that there was some sort of indication that he might have taken her body behind the local high school. I don't know if any of that's true, but that makes people believe that he never even left the county. So he had to have gone somewhere. He was gone for almost 24 hours.
Yeah. Ever who drove him to the hospital is probably where he was at those 24 hours.
For sure.
Well, some of that time he was disposing of Maleah's body, I'm assuming.
Yeah, the body was somewhere because they had dogs that are specialized in human decomp, and they picked up the scent on that basket that we see him carrying out on that Friday that was put apparently in the trunk, and that basket was still in the trunk when they found the car in the Walmart parking lot, but nothing was in the basket unless it was some random things, but they made it sound like that big black trash bag that was in there wasn't in there anymore. And it was just the basket. But my understanding is they've also tested that basket. That was one of the pieces of evidence that they tested, and that Maleah's blood was on that basket.
Yeah. From the picture, from what I've seen, it just looked like there was nothing in that basket but whatever he was carrying out. And they said they could tell by the way he was walking that the basket was kind of heavy.
Yeah, that's definitely possible. I've also seen that people have said that they didn't think it was very heavy, but they also weren't the experts that were watching him. They weren't law enforcement. People are always trying to put in their opinion, but they said that Maleah was between 30 and 40 pounds. My son is 31 pounds. He's as big as most 3-year-olds, and he's 2. I know 31. I hold 31 pounds all the time. There's a big difference in 30 and 40 pounds. One, I don't know why they didn't know, but depending on what else was in that basket and how he didn't have to dismember her to put her in there. If she was deceased, unfortunately, it's dead weight and you're going to have to support all of that weight. But it's kind of like a newborn when those newborn pictures where you can push them into any which way and shape and form, and they're all in these cute little shapes. Well, you can't do that except for the first few weeks of their life. They're not so bendable and pliable after that. Well, a deceased human becomes, for a certain period of time before decomp starts and before rigor mortis starts, their body isn't stiff tight. You can actually mold them how you want, and they're not going to fight back. They're just dead weight.
Wow.
So for them to assume that she was dismembered for a lot of different reasons, there's nothing to me. I'm not an expert on that, dismemberment or anything like that. But in my experience in all the cases that I've researched and covered and investigated in my history and my work and stuff, that would not be a reason for me to believe that she was dismembered. So I just want everybody to know that I wouldn't automatically say she was dismembered. I would not be shocked if we find out that her body is in one piece. Honestly, I wouldn't. I don't think that would have
assumed he folded her up.
Yeah, absolutely. I do not think it's a lot. I don't think people understand. It's almost like strangulation where it's a very, we don't know how she died, but it's a very personal crime. Well, that's a lot of blood. There's going to be more blood than just in that bathroom and leading up to the bathroom. And there would be people like, oh, I think I see blood on his pants when he's walking out. If he dismembered her, there'd be a whole crap ton of blood. I'm telling you, if you ever just get a little cut on your finger from a knife, that thing bleeds like crazy. You could drop blood all over your house. It's It does not take dismemberment. I was in a dog fight and, I had blood all over my house and my whole body was intact except for my finger. So it
Right.
looked like somebody might have been dismembered, but it's not the case. It's a lot to dismember. Bones are hard. Getting through all of that, it's really not that easy.
Well, the piece of tissue that they found could have been like if he hit her real hard with something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's a lot of different things that tissue could have
Yeah.
come from. And for her to have, for her brain injury, at one point, I don't know if this was still the case, but there was a flap that had been operated on and her brain wasn't completely, like her skull wasn't completely placed together. So if he
Right.
hit her right in the right spot, I mean, it's not going to take a whole lot to get a lot of blood. And if he would have taken a knife or something like that, I mean, it really does not take a whole lot for, I know you saw some of the Darley crime scene pictures. Like, it doesn't take a whole lot for you to get a lot of blood. I know that those knife wounds in that case they were through and throughs most of the time, where that knife is going all the way down to the ground,
Yeah.
but they weren't dismembered, but there was still so much blood.
Oh, yes. Oh, gosh. So much blood.
And to do that to a kid, that really takes a heinous person, like he can be a really bad person and commit a crime. It could have been like, I see that this may have happened out of like a crime of passion. He got mad at the mom, took it out on her, and then realized like, oh crap, like he doesn't have a history of, like, if I could plan out, if like I could tell you how I think this happened, I think it was just, maybe if we go the abuse angle, he either abused her to the fact where she died during part of that. I know it sounds messed up and it is, or it could have happened where he abused her. He didn't want her to tell. And so he took care of it in his eyes, or it was just because he was so mad at Brittany, and he took it out on her, or maybe she did something. Like, there have been cases around here where like someone got, like a little girl got ketchup all over the place or something, and she had some sort of like mental handicap and the babysitter killed her. Like, it doesn't take a lot when it's not your kid. That's not his kid. So
Yeah.
she could have called him an asshole and he was like, oh, and it doesn't take a lot sometimes. And
Yeah.
I think
think,
it was an accident, in my opinion. I don't know.
yeah. I think it has something to do with the abuse. I really do. I mean, he
I think,
could have snapped. I really
yeah,
do.
I don't know if I believe Brittany though. If we go that angle and she really was abused, then yes, I believe that. But if we go the other route and
Right.
she's just trying to cover her butt, because she kind of made me think that there may be two reasons why. Like,
Yeah.
Quanell X said it was because he was mad at her. He saw the naked penis pictures, he said, being sent to the other guy. Brittany saw those and they got in a fight. She left. And then they apparently continued to fight while she was gone. And Quanell X said he took it out on Maleah, unfortunately, or Maleah. I'm not exactly sure which one it is. One of the two. Then she also made it sound like, well, he abused her and he sexually abused her. And that makes me think that it was another route. Like, there's a lot of cases I've been working on lately where some of the people that are involved, like family members and possible witnesses or possible, someone suspects, they're trying to, it seems like when they retrace their steps, they try to backpedal and insert all these details that are completely unnecessary so that when evidence does come up, they can be like, oh, see, I told you. That's where that fits in. They're trying to, like, it's like a puzzle. They're trying to lay the backboard of the puzzle so that when that piece comes up, there's a reason for that to be there.
Right. Right. By coming out and trying to say things about Darian, being suspicious, thinking that he was abusing Maleah, she just incriminated herself. She just made herself look bad. So that is suspicious. You got me thinking now, girl.
Absolutely, Brenda. Mel said, I hope I never have to be interrogated by Brenda.
Valerie says, do you guys think maybe the little girl was playing with his phone and saw the pics and maybe she told on him?
Girl, maybe.
I think that he had a lot of resentment towards Maleah for some reason.
There's something going on.
Something, yeah.
That makes me think too. There's also another reason. Like, that's also another thing. Maybe there was, I'm telling you guys, she was was painting a picture so that when these things fall into place, there's a reason, and that she shouldn't be the person that they're looking at. It's all Darian. It's not. She's an innocent bystander. She's an innocent victim. She's trying to make herself out to be a victim all of her life, including a victim of Darian.
Yeah. San, are you leaving?
Bye, San.
Oh, maybe Judith is. Oh, bye, Judith. Good luck at your
Hey,
doctor's
Gingerlocks. Hey, everyone that's come in, and bye, everyone that's leaving.
Angela, hi, Gingerlocks. Girl, we do a good live stream together. We're compatible.
I agree. I like it.
Me too. It's so much better having you on here with me.
It gives you something to. I like the back and forth. That's what I tell my hubby all the time when he does when we do the recordings and put up our episodes, which we're going to get back to doing here soon. I told him last night, I'm like, I just haven't had the time to really put the stuff together. So I'm going to make sure I get back to that. But I like the back and forth with him. I like the fact that I don't have to sit up here and wait for comments to come up. And you can have a conversation with people and people can join in rather than I'm waiting for other people. It's just, I like the whole conversation aspect of it.
Oh, me too. Me too. Now you got me wondering if maybe he did take it out on Maleah because she broke off the engagement.
I have to look at all kinds of points, but you know what? I also wonder if she really did because, you bring up a good point. She said that this was the stepfather. They said he apparently called himself Maleah's stepfather from the very time that he showed up at the hospital and said that she was missing. Well, when Quanell X comes up, we were under the understanding that that was Maleah's stepfather. They were still in a relationship. Well, a week later, they come out and say, oh, well, that's the ex-fiance. And it sounded like I could have interpreted it wrong, but in the beginning, it was my understanding that she gave him back the ring already and that she said that they were, not going to be, she called off the engagement before she left. But then when I listened to that again, or when I listened to it further and then listened to his other one, it made me think that he either said two different things, or what he meant was that they were on the phone after she left. And then she said, I'm giving you back your ring. Regardless, she still had it on her finger when she came back and was acting like they were still together. And she defended his butt on Facebook before looking like she wasn't worried about where her daughter was, in my opinion. She was worried about clearing his name, and he wasn't even responding back to her. Then all of a sudden, they don't talk. I've also heard that Brittany's mom will not talk to her. She has stopped talking to her.
Wow. So what does she know?
I think she thinks that she's put herself in a situation. I could not, you know what? I bet you my mom, if I ever did what Brittany just did, even if it was as simple as, and I don't say simple as, even if she was not involved in anything and it was just her knowing that she had been abused, she still put her daughter in a vulnerable situation. My mom would beat my butt up and down the street, even being 30 years old. That is unacceptable. And my mom would totally be at the side of her grandchild, my son, versus me, because I know better. I am grown. You know what I mean? Like, my child is not. And my parents adore my husband. But I was married before, and my parents knew he was a piece of crap, and they didn't know he was abusing me. But if I would have ever had a child in that situation and something would have happened to him, like my ex tried to kill me, if that would have happened to my child and I would have not walked away and left him there and went out of town, my parents would never be okay with that. Like, they would never defend me. There's no way, and I don't blame them. There's no way. I freaking know better. As a grown adult, it's my responsibility to take care of my child. There's no way that I would leave, especially after a brain injury. And apparently she was sick with the flu is what they're saying. She was sick. She had a brain injury. She was still healing. She needed medication and medical care. So you just trust this guy who is abusing to take care of her when all he does is abuse her?
Right.
I think that's what it was. I think that's what it was, that her mom was just like, if it's true, that's what I'm seeing, is that her mom will not talk to her or support her. And who I saw in court with her yesterday was Maleah's godmother, who it's like Jeanette Goss or something like that. And she's
Mhm.
been very vocal on Facebook, and she's
Yeah,
been with
I
her.
follow her on Facebook.
Yeah, but she's come out and made me think that she didn't believe her either. And then next thing I know,
Yeah.
she's standing next to her yesterday. So
Oh,
I don't know.
really?
I don't know what to believe.
I just saw here when I was reading about they. I saw that the protesters actually chased her out of the courthouse, followed her down the street, calling her a murderer, all kinds of things. But later on in the article here, it says that two police dogs alerted on the car to the scent of decomposition. Two dogs are not wrong.
Yeah,
We know,
absolutely.
we know he was in that car. How else
For
could he have
sure.
got out? She was in that basket.
I have seen people point out, and I know that we try, like, we can make our minds think things. We can make. I've seen people point out that they think that you can see her face in that basket, in that, like, in the bag. And if that is true, it breaks my heart, because when they point it out, I think I see it. And if we are seeing her poor little, you can just see her eyes, and it, like, I am a woman of many, many words. I
Oh
don't
my
know
God,
what to say
you
about that.
can.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you can see her face.
Yeah.
I
And that
didn't realize
messed up.
that.
Yeah, and that picture with, like, the yellow circle around it or whatever,
Yeah,
you can
I just
totally.
enlarged it up to where I
Mm-hmm.
could see, and you can see her face like right here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if y'all can see. See? You can see the kid's face. That's, I mean, that could be like a shadow or something, but you can see the eyes.
Yeah, you can even see it. You showing, like, yeah, you can see
Yeah,
that face,
see the
guys.
eyes and the nose and
Yeah,
the
that's in the basket.
cheeks.
Yeah,
So I don't think she was dismembered at all. I
I
always
don't
thought
think so
she was
either.
folded up.
I don't know if this is a death penalty case, mac and cheese. Hello, by the way, and I don't know. Let me see if Texas is a death penalty state. I think they
Yeah,
are, but I'm not sure.
Penfield State, Darley Routier's on death row.
Oh, okay, yeah, so they are. Okay, so they've electrocuted 361 inmates.
You do lethal
Uh,
injection now.
they've done a lot. Okay.
Yeah, that is her face. Oh my goodness, I did not know that.
Unless someone has edited the photo, but even the photos that I've seen that
No.
weren't edited that came from the news, it still looks like you can see it, and that breaks my heart.
But, took a screenshot of it enlarged.
And then you should be able to blow it up
You can
again.
definitely see it. I mean,
Yeah.
but it almost looks like a baby.
Yeah.
Doesn't it? I don't know if someone photoshopped that or not.
I know. I need to go back and see. I need to go back and check, like, all the other ones and compare them to see. But
Maybe
I don't
did
I don't think it
Houston
was.
police post it on their Twitter? We could go on Twitter and see.
Yeah,
There.
let me see here. I'm gonna see if I can find these that come up. Let's see.
Do I not have Twitter downloaded on my phone? Maybe not.
There's a lot of news stations that stopped showing that angle. They started showing a different angle of that photo altogether. So you wouldn't be able to see, and I wonder if that's because they think that you can see the face as well.
Maybe. Get back into the live chat. I don't have Twitter app on my phone. I thought I did. Well, it's automatic. I think it's a death penalty case if the child's under 5 in Texas, because that's what they did to Darley. That's why they charged her with only the youngest one, because that was a death penalty.
Okay, so there are 41. Hold on.
The capital offenses include, oh wait, that's not for Texas. That's just for in general.
Hi, mac and cheese. I think I can hear myself somehow. I mean, like echo.
There were 40 people put to death in Texas in 2000.
Yeah, they charged Darley for Damon's murder because he was under, I think it's 6 or 5, something like that. So this will probably be a death penalty case. And they only charged her for one in case of an acquittal. They could go back and charge her with the other one. It wouldn't be double jeopardy.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
good for them. I mean, I know that's a super controversial case. I don't mean to say, if somebody is guilty and they do it, that they played that very well is what I mean to say.
Yeah. Yeah.
Different angle.
That's a way to get around the double jeopardy.
I haven't seen that angle. Thanks. Okay. Yeah, none of the news stations or anything are showing that specific angle anymore. So I have to go in and find it.
Yeah, I don't have Twitter on my phone, the app. I need to download it. I have it on my Chromebook. I could probably pull it up and look. I follow them. Twitter. I never use my Twitter.
I only use it now because of YouTube and stuff. Okay, let's see here. Let's wheel looking. Okay, now those.
See if we can.
Yeah, they're not showing that review. I feel like there's a reason for that for sure. Still not.
Crap.
I'm curious for everybody that's still in the chat too. When's good time for live chats like this if Cece and I were to do them on a weekly basis and stuff on Tuesdays and Fridays? When would work best for y'all?
I find that more people's in the chat around 11.
In the morning?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Than when I do them early. But like I said, since it's winter time, or back in the winter time, you get more people in the chat early in the morning. But when it's, warming up, people are out and about. I can't find the Houston PD's Twitter page for some reason. What in the crap? Let's see what the chat's saying. Carla says 11 a.m. is good.
All right, good deal.
Tuesdays and Fridays.
Did you hear what happened the other day where I think it was KHOU 11? It was one of the local news stations. They confirmed with where Brittany's father was buried, or where his funeral service was, or whatever. I guess they had asked the funeral home owner, if Brittany was there on the actual funeral date, the 27th, and the guy said yes, so they reported on it. Well, they came back and retracted and put out they confirmed it with somebody else, I guess, yesterday, once they confirmed the court documents, and it said that law enforcement had confirmed that Brittany was out of town from the 30th, and they confirmed, I guess, with flight records that she came back on the 3rd, and they were able to confirm that, and they came back and updated their accounts and said that they talked to somebody else from the funeral home, and that somebody else came in and said that Brittany's father's family held a private service on the 27th. They could not confirm who was there, but they were able to confirm that she was at the service on the 30th. So
She was at the burial service. I did a video on that article last night.
yeah, they're doing like talk about contradictions. Like you can't get truth if it's slapped in your face. It's like it's just messed up.
I know. It's crazy. The story gets weirder and weirder. More information comes out each day. You don't know if she's 4 years old, 5 years old.
So court documents have said that she is 4 and that KV, I guess Cortland, is 2.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure his name is Portland. I'm pretty sure I read that. Yes, right. I read so much. It took me forever to find that article again where she said that, Quanell X said the mother had saw bruises on Maleah before and suspected physical and sexual abuse. Remember, I sent it to you.
Yeah. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
On that, there's just been so many details come out.
And a lot of it has been contradictory. Like it's gone back and forth. But I know even news stations, people are like, oh, you should wait to put out the information until you know your facts. Well, even news stations, people want to report on it first. They want to be able to tell you. And sometimes it's not always right. And that's coming from law enforcement too.
I'm making coffee. Yeah. I don't know. I would say that he is not going to give law enforcement any more interviews about Maleah.
I don't know. I've heard a lot of rumors that he has confessed. I don't think that's true, but if they say like, tell us what happened and tell us this or tell us that, it's like sometimes they may, if they give him a better deal and say, hey, we won't kill you, we won't put you to death, or, maybe he will. I don't know. I didn't think Chris Watts was going to say anything either, and he did. But I don't believe it. I only believe like 25% of what he said, but that's neither here nor there. But you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, even if he does say something, it's not guaranteed to be the truth.
I don't believe the Chris Watts snapping theory anymore because I listened to Dr. Grande and he kind of analyzed Chris by, his interviews and stuff. And he said
he didn't snap.
If he had have snapped, he had an hour to calm down if he was enraged. He had an hour. I think he premeditated it. I really do.
Yeah, no, he didn't have to kill the kids. That's what I talk to my husband all the time about. I'm like, okay, so even if he got mad at Shanann, I understand that him and Shanann can get mad at each other. Domestic sometimes it's hard to understand what people are going through. So you have that, but even if he did kill her and snap, quote unquote, whatever, he had all the time to haul everybody in the truck and then drive that whole time. Why didn't he call someone and say, hey, I've done something really bad. Can you just pick up the girls? Like, why did they have to be involved? Why? And I feel like he was honestly saying the things that he said to torture people. He wanted to torture her family or torture her friends or just be a jerk. I don't know. I don't feel like that was really what happened. And there's a lot of times he says we in his statement, like we went to get the shovel or we did this. And I want to know who's, does he have a mouse in his pocket? Like who's the we? I've been thinking NK was involved for a long time. So, even when someone does come out and say that they have said something and, hey, this is the truth, that doesn't mean there's his side, her side, and then what's actually true somewhere in the middle. And
I always say
I don't think we're ever going to know on any of these cases, no matter how much evidence comes out.
I always say there's two sides to every story, and then there's the truth.
Yeah, somewhere in the middle. And it doesn't matter who you are. I mean, as innocent as you could possibly try and make something, it doesn't. It's because we only retain so much information. Anytime something happens, you usually retain about 30% of it. And then when you go to bed, you forget even more of that. So unless you study something over and over and over again, you're just not going to remember. And it's not because you're intentionally lying. It's just because there's pieces that our brain tries to fill in and it's not always accurate.
Sorry, guys, I'm eating a donut.
You're not allowed to do that. The heck? I'm just kidding.
Or honey bun.
My husband loves those. I'm not a big donut fan.
Okay, Big K for truth. I still think NK was involved. I think she knows a lot more
Me
than
too.
what she says. Something that really stuck out to me is during her interview with police, she didn't want to say Shanann's name. And the cop noticed it too because he asked her, did it bother you to say Shanann's name? Because she kept saying wife or whatever. And another thing, she had text messages to her friends, complaining about Chris having kids, blah, blah, blah. I think she drilled it in his head that she wanted to be first because in a card he wrote her, he wrote inside of it, we'll have plenty of firsts together. So evidently she threw that crap up to him a lot.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. Piece of crap.
Mm-hmm. That's for sure.
The way she acted in her interview, you would have thought she was at a damn Verizon store talking about her cell phone.
No kidding. Yeah.
My damn dogs are crying. I can't make a move through the house. They get up, and every time I move, they want to go out.
Oh, that's funny.
And speaking, we were talking about Maleah's weight. Ladybug, my dog, she weighs about 30, 35 pounds, and she's pretty heavy to pick up.
Yeah, my son is. I'm used to it because he's been the exact same weight for the last 6 to 7 months, and that's just because we've changed his eating habits. He was bigger in the beginning, and he ate more. Now that he's older, he doesn't eat as much, and he literally weighed 31 pounds at his 18-month checkup, and he weighed 31 pounds at his 2-year checkup, and he's actually more on track. But he's as big as your average 3-year-old. She was 4, and they said she's between 30 and 40 pounds. I mean, I'm just used to carrying her. He has a kid too, though. I'd think he'd be used to carrying a kid. But that would be an awkward position, carrying that much weight in a laundry basket. It didn't look like the most sturdy laundry basket either. So,
yeah, the article I read, it said the detective said, someone said that they could tell by his stance walking out that he was carrying something heavy.
Yeah, it was one of the detectives or someone in law enforcement did say that. I read that as well.
Yeah.
So they thought that he was carrying out Maleah at that time. That was one of their probable cause things.
Taking notes when I see these things because I forget who says what.
I know, right?
It's so much.
No, absolutely.
Expectation after the AJ and Maleah. We just think we got the trials coming up, unless they plead out or something.
For which ones?
For AJ.
Oh, yeah. When is that?
We'll have to cover.
When does that come out?
I don't know when they're going to go to a trial, but I'm just saying.
I gotcha. Okay, yeah.
Covering that, and it's just stressful. It's just so stressful.
Oh, yeah. They're doing more stuff on Kelsey Barrett that's coming up in the next couple weeks, too.
Oh, my goodness. I didn't cover much about that. We've talked about it a little bit. There's Madam Men. Hey, she wants to know if there's any news on Tyler Davis.
No, not that I know of. Let me see if I can find anything additional. I've been keeping up with that, and I haven't. Last I heard is that it was about a week ago. I was listening to the True Crime Garage, and they were talking about it was in their episode on Stitcher. Off the Record is what it's called, and you have to pay for it. I got a trial. You can get like a week trial or something like that for free. So I got that and I listened to it. And they were saying that they had talked to law enforcement and that they had talked to the friend, which I found out the friend's name is Sean. It's spelled different than your average Sean, but that's my understanding. And that True Crime Garage had talked to him. They were also talking about how they talked to law enforcement, and they suspected that potential lie detector tests were going to be coming out sometime soon. I don't know if that's true. I know the search was continuing, and they had searched, they searched every body of water in the area. I think there were like 4 or 5. They had at one point searched one of them. I think they've covered them all now, and they still continue to search for him. So they were having issues. I guess Tyler was on Verizon's service with his parents, and they were having issues obtaining some of the information. They thought they have reason to believe, like law enforcement, I guess, has reason to believe that Tyler may have been on his phone after the last call with his wife, Brittany. There's another Brittany. They think that maybe he would have used like Facebook Messenger or another type of app. So they're trying to get all the records that they can, and they're trying to confirm if he talked to anybody else that may not be Brittany and used any other app. And I guess Verizon was being a little difficult with them, or their process was they still hadn't obtained those records, even though I'm sure Tyler's mom and dad were very willing to say, here, access anything, because it was on their plan. A lot of times they have issues when someone's missing, because when you're an adult, you can go missing. You don't have to tell anybody where you are. It can be harder to subpoena someone's phone, but the fact that it was on his parents' plan, it shouldn't be that hard, yet it is. So they're still trying to get information, and there really isn't a whole lot. He's just gone.
Matthew says, what about PPS's epic failure? They should be charged. These people are trained to handle these cases. They should have investigated this, got AJ out of the home. He should have never been given back, in my opinion. But they need to be charged with something. Everybody combined with the parents.
Didn't they let 2 of those people go from that case, the AJ Friend case, 2 of the CPS people?
Yeah, they are like, I don't know.
On leave or something?
Duty, I guess. Yeah, on leave. Yeah, that's the word.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, these dogs are driving me crazy, y'all.
Might have been that way too.
Richard hangs out next door on the porch all day now. I don't know why. And they like to go out there and just sit and watch him.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh my gosh, they drive me crazy. They're worse than toddlers. Check out Gabriel Fernandez case. CPS went on trial. Oh, I will check that out.
Yeah, send that to me if you don't mind.
Should be court ordered when someone goes missing or is murdered. Phone records are automatic. I think when a child goes missing, they should automatically strap up the parents or the last person with them to a lie detector. I think that should be law.
I don't necessarily disagree with that. That's for sure.
Yeah, because I mean, if they legit got their kid kidnapped, they shouldn't have a problem taking a lie detector.
Yeah, no, for sure.
I should wait on my coffee. Gosh, it's cold here today. I can't believe it.
I don't know what it is here right now. I know it was colder earlier. It was like it was 40 something when I took my son.
Carla Marie says administrative leave, big effing deal. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, a lot of those people get paid. I don't know if they're unpaid administrative leave, but I know a lot of times those people do something crazy and then they get paid to be on leave. Must be nice.
Someone says, what about Madam Men? What about the judges that give the kids back on these cases? Yeah, that's a good question.
Man, I'm dealing with some crazy judges in Ohio for other things. Judges are some corrupt people sometimes, man.
Yeah. If when there's allegations of abuse, it should not be so easy to get the kids back. I don't even think they should give them back if you can prove that they were abusing their kids. I mean, I know they want to see kids with their moms and dads, but it's not always the safest place, as we can see by AJ Friend. They give these people a couple parenting classes, do some scheduled home visits, a couple drug tests, and they get their kids back.
That's crazy.
And then they end up murdered.
Yeah, that should never happen.
Yeah. I'm going to do a video on a very bad case that happened around here years ago, probably back in the 90s, late 90s. We actually have a law in Virginia in the little girl's name, but she was chained to her mattress while animals were running in and out. I talked to the cop, the jailer, beside the jail right after this happened. He said when they hauled the mattress out of there, I mean, it just smelled so bad that they had to throw up.
Wow.
Yeah. She was deprived of food and water. I think her name was Annie. I think we have like an Annie's Law here.
Jeez.
It's happened in the next county over from me. But it was awful.
Yeah, that's messed up for sure.
Yeah, they said that the window was busted out in her bedroom, and the squirrels and stuff would run in the room, and I think there'd even been a raccoon in there before.
Jeez.
Yeah. They'd chain her there, and she'd just have to pee on herself.
That's awful.
I know.
My goodness.
These people are monsters.
Yeah, they sure are. Like, there's no other way to put it for sure.
Well, let's see if there's anything else new about Maleah before we end our stream.
Sounds good.
I've got to get off here. I know you do too.
Yeah, my dogs are going nuts.
Yeah, so are mine. I don't see anything new right at this moment, girl, but it's been a good live stream with you.
Absolutely. I enjoy it. We need to do this more for sure.
Yeah, we will. We'll schedule one for Friday.
Sounds good.
Thank you so much for
Absolutely
sharing all your info. You are awesome. You know what
well, thank you. I appreciate it. I'll talk to you soon, girl.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Okay, guys. Thank you all in the chat. See, Mac and Cheese says, in the Fernanda case, CPS falsified documents to cover themselves. I will look up that. I'm going to do this one case that happened around here as soon as I can and upload it. Welcome to all the new subs that came in the chat and all the new subs that subscribed and watched the replay. Welcome. Thank you, Katie, again for coming on. We are so compatible. I thought that it was a good live stream. I love having you as a co-host. But anyways, you all have a great day. Kay and I will keep y'all all updated about Maleah. Hopefully, they will find her body soon and they can give this poor child a proper burial. But anyways, guys, have a great day. I love you all. Be kind and peace.